frying pan.
And into the fire. Run! Run!
Hello and welcome to another Out of the Frying Pan podcast YouTube video. For those of you who haven't found us before, we're a bit of a sister channel really to our audio podcast Out of the Frying Pan. There's a link in the description below. We're over 20 episodes now. We mainly talk about Middle-earth strategy battle game, which will be the subject of this channel as well. But we do also talk about anything sort of Lord of the Rings related at times. We've got a bit of a movie chat and all those kind of things. So if you like audio podcasts as well, go and check us out there. This is, as I said, a bit of a supporting act really, which we use to put some of the stuff that's kind of needs to be more visual, so to speak. But today's video, I've got my hands on the new Quest for the Ringbearer book, so I thought I'd give you a bit of an unboxing rather than review. We're going to do a full review on the podcast. I'm just going to rip the cellophane off and sort of flick through page by page so you can get an initial first look as I do, and I'll give you my first impressions. And here we are with the new Quest for the Ringbearer book. So this is, just to repeat, this isn't a review of it, this is a unboxing more than anything else. We'll do a full review on the audio podcast when I've had a good chance to read it. So this is the morning of release, so UK time is about 10:30 at the moment. I've had the book for about an hour or so. I've got the digital copy as well, so I had a thumb through last night when that went live at midnight. So I always have a bit of an idea what's inside, but I thought we'll unbox it, so to speak, and give you first impressions, just as I did with the Best of White Dwarf book as well. There's a short video I put out a few weeks ago. So let's get the cellophane off. This time I did run the knife around the corner of it, so I didn't take me quite as long to take the cellophane off as it did the last time, he says. And the cellophane's still on as we speak. Right then. So the plan will be to sort of flick through the pages. I'm not going to leave them on there too long. It's not the idea to show off the whole book so that people can steal bits from it without purchasing it. It's just sort of give you an overview and a flick through and just my general first impressions as I flick through, and whether I'm excited about what's in or whether I'm not. But the standard Middle-earth logo at the moment, the same sort of theme as all the other books as expected, and let's crack into it. So the Middle-earth map that you see on the inside of all the books, all standard stuff, very nicely done. And then we have the contents page with a list of all the things that are in there. Let me see if I can get that to the light off that so that people can see what's in there. That is available on the sales page on the GW website anyway. The contents is one of the images, so you can see what's in there. So there's 28 narrative scenarios. There are 5 armies covered. There are 6 legendary legions. There's the Fantasy Fellowship. There's a Weathertop Masterclass. So that's painting the and modelling the Forge World Weathertop model, the fantastic one. And there's a little bit of history at the beginning. So the general introduction talks you about the narratives play, the linked campaign, which is in there as well. A little bit about the history of the ring, the army list, the legendary legions, Fantasy Fellowship, and the Weathertop Masterclass. So then you've got your few pages of the history of the ring, a timeline there. And then you move right into the scenarios, and this is the bit that's really excited me about this book. So we're deep in 2020. If this video is being viewed, long after the release date, deep in 2020. Country's been going in and out of various lockdowns and things with COVID. We're in September now, and COVID unfortunately is picking up again in the UK, and it looks like there might be more and more restrictions. So people aren't able to get to events and things at the moment. Events aren't viable. So a lot more kind of gaming COVID securely with friends, or as Dan and I and Sam are talking about doing on the podcast, actually gaming using this camera, facing it down and doing some of the smaller narrative scenarios over the internet, just so we get some gaming in. And this book has come really timely for that. There's so many scenarios here that are relatively low model count and really nice little fun projects. So this one, for example, Farmer Maggot's Crop. Well, I've got the Fellowship all painted. I haven't got Farmer Maggot. If I buy Farmer Maggot and paint him, which would be a fun thing to do, we can play this scenario. And it says it's on a 4x4 board. I probably could shrink it down if needed to, if I couldn't get the top down right, but it's something that I've got terrain for, something to be easy to do, and it'll be fun to play over a short period. It's only a little scenario, and this book is packed full of these kind of things. Shortcuts make long delays. Another similar kind of book. So you only need 3 ring wraiths, the 4 hobbits, and Gildor. I don't know if he's available on the website at the moment. If not, I could proxy an elf, I'm sure. Buckleberry Ferry, got all the models for that, as a lot of people will. So 3 ring wraiths, the 4 hobbits. Maybe need to model a bit of River or Buckleberry Ferry, but this is very much along the lines of the old Journey books, and that's been well talked about and documented by the Middle Earth team. It's got that kind of feel that the Journey books gave us. And I've got those own Journey books anyway, so if I need some inspiration for some of the modelling side of things for these scenarios, those books would be great resources for them. Old Forest, again, really low model count, just the 4 hobbits, so very, very cool. Lots of fun small scenarios. This is just a 2x2 board, so this would be really, really easy for me to maybe run for someone else, run for Sam or for Dan, and games master it. So perfect for this time of year. And obviously it wasn't planned for that, but in the COVID world we're in, this is a little bit of light at the end. Fog on the Barrow Downs, again, more low model count, so your hobbits, Tom Bombadil, Goldberry, and 4 Barrow Rights. Nazgul and Bree, so the being Forge World of sort of shared or spoiled that we're going to be getting Balin and Butterbur and Harry Goatleaf soon. We haven't got a release date as the time of recording this, but just adding those 2 models, which I'll be purchasing anyway, to Strider and the 4 hobbits. And you need some ring wraiths. Those ones are on horses. I'm hoping that GW re-release the mounted ones, because they're a bit pricey on eBay at the moment. Then Weathertop, so I've recently painted a Weathertop. Well, it's not a Weathertop model, it's a circular ruins that's 3D printed, but it's not quite, it doesn't look like the official movie images of Weathertop that GW used, but it's definitely usable for it. And so I'll be playing that game with Dan and Sam very soon, actually. The first weekend in October, we're planning on spending an afternoon, and we'll take it in turns to play a Weathertop scenario. Now this one's out, we will be using this one. So looking forward to that. Flight to the Ford, again relatively low model counts. The hobbits, Aragorn, Arwen mounted. You do need the full 9 mounted ring race for this, which is something I don't have at the moment, but a lot of people will. First mini game, Pass of Caradhras. Looks like it uses cards and things, and the Fellowship. So, well, there's something I could play already. There's a lot in this book that I've already got what I need to do, which is really, really cool. Wargs in the Night, again Fellowship, and then Wild Warg Chieftain and 18 Wargs. I don't have those, but again, these are things that they're not beyond the realms of possibilities for people to go and purchase what they need in order to play them if they're their favourite parts of the films or the books. Gates of Moria. Just watched Battle Streams in Middle Earth last night, and Damien and Steve playing one of the old Watcher scenarios from Battle Games in Middle Earth. This one looks fun. I've got a Fellowship. Will I be tempted to buy the Watcher in the Water? I think I may. I think I might be purchasing him when I get paid next week, and this will be another one we can play then. Balin's Tomb, so the old favourite. They've just re-released the plastic Balin's Tomb scenery, which was in the original starter set. It's only £15, really cheap. I do have a set. I'm tempted to purchase a second one so I can double up the amount of columns, so I've got the right amount, and build a little board for it. Again, a little 2x2 board, something I could play online, COVID secure, and it'll still be great afterwards when the world is back to normal. Obviously the Fellowship, which I've already got, and I do have a Moria army sitting in a box ready to go, so maybe they will, maybe this will be the excuse I need to jump them ahead of the list. I mean, a lot of my planned hobby for the rest of this year to do with things I won't be doing now. The big Helm's Deep game we were playing is going to be next spring now, so there's not much of a hurry on getting an army painted, and Throne of Skulls isn't going to be happening, so that board can be left to next year as well, so I can move some things about and add some new painting projects in that suit this book, which should be a really nice thing to do. Focus on a book at the time of its release, painting stuff to play the scenarios in it. Could be a really nice way of spending the winter. Escape from Daredale, so more Moria theme, and pretty much once you've painted the 24 Moria goblins and captains and your cave troll for your Barney's Tomb scenario, it means you can do this one as well. And the same again for Bridget Castle Dermot. I do have a Balrog, and the excuse to paint him would be to you know, I don't think I could pass that up, so that may well be part of what I do. So I've created a list of already of the things I think I need to purchase to do all of these scenarios. I think I split the list in half between things for the future, but things to maybe try and do this autumn winter. So Lothlorien, I probably need to find some fellowship with elven cloaks, because I've got the standard fellowship. I do have the plastic 3 hunters, so maybe I just need to pick up copies of the hobbits with elven cloaks. Definitely got some wood elf warriors in a box, and then you've got Moria goblins again, so you've got those left over if you've painted them or prepped them for the, I say you, me, prepped or painted them for the Moria stuff. 18 wild wargs, maybe not, we'll see. Aragorn's Last Stand, well, got lots of Isengard stuff ready for next year, so these may make the list. Boromir's Redemption, really cool stuff this. I suppose this is one of the ones without Frodo or Sam in, because most of the scenarios will be based on, you know, the quest of the Ringbearer. I suppose this is linked because this engagement means that they can escape. Breaking of the Fellowship, a similar thing. Ambush at Am and Hen. It looks like you can link these together quite nicely. Even if you don't do the full Ling campaign, you can sort of do them in little sort of groups of 2 or 3. Taming of Schmeagol, got these models already. I suppose I don't have the Sam and Frodo with elven cloaks, but again, I think that's going to be on my shopping list. Dead Marshes. I don't have any Death Marsh Spectres, but again, if picking up 6 Dead Marsh Spectres means you can do this scenario, it may well be something that I wouldn't have originally purchased. Ambush at the Thilium, this will be something for the future. Definitely want to purchase a couple of Mummoks, but it might not be on my might not jump in front of all of the things I've got planned at the moment. The same with the Osgiliath, stuff like that. Fantastic, but they will be maybe for some point next year when I start working on my Rangers and Ministerial things as well. Another mini game, Smeagol's Treachery, just need Samwise Gamgee and Gollum, so that's something we can play and will probably work well to play over the internet. If it's just cards, set up the camera as I have now. Really good fun. Shelob's Lair. Again, got all these models. Just painted Shelob last night, actually. Haven't shared pictures of them at the time of recording this video. Probably wait until I've finished Sam and Frodo wrapped up in the web. Cirith Ungol, lots of Mordor Urukai here. Really cool things. I've got lots of Mordor orcs already. Dorbag and Shagrat. A lot of people will have these models. I think gamers that have been playing this system for a number of years are going to have an awful lot of these models in their collections and be able to play these fairly easily. End of All Things. Again, maybe excuse to pick up those absolutely fantastic models from Mount Doom. This is quite a good scenario, this one. I've had a thumb through and I've not read it, but looks like there's 2 table setups, I think. Is this the one I'm thinking of? Yeah, there we go. I've already turned past the page. So you've got the Frodo and Sam section, throwing the ring into the fire, and then you've got the surrounded remnants of the good armies at the Black Gate. Could be really cool to play. So that looks amazing. As I say, when we do the full review on the podcast, I'll have read the scenarios through, at least skim read them, so I'll be able to comment on it in a bit more detail. This is really kind of a continuation of the first impressions as I had last night while flicking through the digital edition at midnight, and as you saw, I took the cellophane off now, so I'm just flicking through. And then you've got your Journey of the Ringbearer campaign built in, so you can play your campaign all the way through using all those scenarios. fantastic. And then onto the armies section, so the things that are covered in it. So obviously your fellowship, Rangers of Ithilien, so it just gives you the kind of the main page that you get in the army books with the army bonus in there and what makes up the army. Obviously all the army entries aren't in there, you'll need the army book to do that, but the things that will have new models later in the book are just covered, or new legendary legions are covered. And here's your first 2 new profiles. These have already been shared on Warcom. So Anborn and Mablung, we talked about it in episode 20, I think. We have a little chat about those. Wanderers in the Wild. And you got your next 2 profiles, so Barnum and Butterbur and Harry Goatleaf. They've very recently been teased, so I'm hopeful that we will see those very soon. And they may even get pre-orders going up into next week or so. They will definitely be picked up just by adding those. I can definitely do another scenario, and they're models I'll want to have anyway. But lovely. Forge World models are always fantastic to paint, and these will be a joy, I'm sure. Black Riders, Cirith Ungol. So it's just the 4 new profiles. Legendary Legions. These are the bits that will excite a lot of the match play players. I suppose excite me as well, to be honest with you. And obviously there's not many events going on at the moment, but still really good. So breaking into the Fellowship, if my memory serves me right, with Jay talking about it on the Warcom podcast, he basically said it was a 600 point list all in, I think. If you're without Gandalf at that stage. But I'll cover the rules and things when we talk about the full review on the audio podcast. Rangers of Ithilien, I believe it's exactly the same. I haven't checked it all, I believe it's exactly the same, just with Anborn and Mablung added into it, so it's official. Lurtz's Scouts, something a lot of people have been asking for. There's some good bonuses for Lurtz. I think he can throw his shield now, which is sort of a one-off strength 4 throwing weapon. Obviously he loses his shield after that because he no longer has it, so his defence is going to go down. Oh, what does it say? No, Lurtz's defence will not be reduced. Fantastic. Depths of Moria, so this is a Balrog led Moria list, so it kind of matched the film rather than the lists you tend to see with your Durbers and your the other named captain now, but I mean this matches the stuff I got in the box, so I may well build that towards it being the Legendary Legion, and then I can use it in the scenario play. I can't see me taking to events and things, but I did want to add to my collection all the things that come up in the film, so I can do these narrative scenarios, which is what it's all about for me. Black Riders, so there's a Legendary Legion for taking the unnamed wraiths, which is fantastic. This will give them a little bit of boost with the extra special rules. Obviously the generic ones, I don't think are as good as they were in previous editions. Those of you who have played previous editions will be better to answer that than me, but really exciting. I've definitely got all the foot ones painted. I will hopefully see a re-released mounted set soon, even if it's just made to order. Hopefully it's not made to order. Hopefully that one goes out full time, because I might be a bit pricey and I might be able to afford it straight away. Cirith Ungol. So Gorbag and Shagrat will have to be purchased at some point. I do have lots of orcs to go for a Moria armour in the future. I've just painted Shelob, so that might well get looked at as well. And then you have this sort of the interesting bit at the end, which is a little bit different, the Fantasy Fellowship. So it gives you rules to create your own 9, not necessarily the 9 from the books stroke films. And there's rules for how you can run them through the campaign instead of the original 9, which is fantastic. I mean, I think it's quite interesting. I love the films and the books, so the thought of playing this too often doesn't interest me as much as the rest of the book, maybe. I can still think of some fun uses for it. I'm not sure I'd want to play the whole campaign with it. I don't know if that would interest me. This is just purely a personal thing. It's not a criticism of the choice to put it in there, because I think it's brilliant. But if I was going to run through that whole campaign, I'd probably want to do it with the 9, the original Fellowship. But I quite like it as a fun exercise of choosing who you would choose as an alternative. And I've heard some interesting ones talked about, whether you go with a young Bilbo type Fellowship or an old Bilbo type Fellowship. I would probably gear towards an alternative history that could have happened from the books if something happened in a different way or a different time, so that if Bilbo, a younger Bilbo, found out earlier, or Gandalf found out earlier what the ring was, and they wanted to get rid of it before Frodo was able to do it, so to speak, rather than just go for a complete mismatch of profiles alike, so to speak. But definitely a fun exercise in choosing it. I can imagine it might be a fun event as well. You run an event where people just bring their own fantasy fellowships. That could be interesting. I wonder if anyone will do that. So those are your rules for the campaign for it, and the scenarios for your fantasy fellowship. Campaign bonuses, your roster to record your replacements for your original fellowship, and then some pictures of some of the team at head office and their own fantasy fellowships. And then you got right at the end your Weathertop Masterclass. So this is your fantastic Forge World official Weathertop model, much nicer than what I've got. What I purchased was is actually a different design when you look at it, but I suppose that means it's not infringing on IP. Mine's just a circular ruins, but it will definitely do for playing Weathertop games, and a very nice 3D print it was as well. It's a free file on Thingiverse, and it was just printed for me by the 3D Tabletop, so they're not selling it as such, otherwise that would probably infringe IP and things as well. But I would have loved this, and maybe I will one day, but 260 odd quid is quite expensive just for a scenario or so, but I probably will one day. But really nice masterclass on how to paint it. If you've purchased that much, if you spend that much money on a model, and you want to make sure you do a good job of painting it, so very helpful, and just lovely pictures to look at. And that is the end of the book, and that's just over 20 minutes of me talking. As I said, it's an unboxing rather than a full review, just my initial thoughts. We will talk about it a little bit more on the full podcast, which may or may not be out by the time I get this video up. It all depends on how good the kids are today and how much free time I have, but I will hand you back to me sitting in the chair. Thank you for joining me through that little unboxing of the book. Very little short video really, but hopefully it's useful for some of you that maybe haven't yet decided whether to purchase a book or not, and just that little flick through is enough to kind of help you make your mind up, see what's inside, get excited by the contents. So I know it's, as I've said in the video, probably lots. It's been something I've been very excited to receive for a while, and that book's right in my alley at the moment, so to speak. With COVID around, it's going to be good to maybe do some smaller scenarios over the internet with my podcast co-hosts and things, and we've already got some discussion around how we can do some of the smaller ones, and it's just the perfect theme. It's sort of leading me away from some of the bigger battles to some of the smaller, cooler things that we can maybe play on smaller tables and get a camera set up and have a go. But that's me rambling again. Great book, really enjoyed it. Definitely go out and pick it up if you haven't ordered it already. Do head over to our audio podcast. All the links and things are below. I won't go on and on about that, but thanks for watching another video. Take care, and I'll see you.
Out of the frying pan and into the fire. Run! Run!